really, motivated to work on certain things, right? I want to look at the passion side. This is more not on the skill set, but on the mindset, right? If I use the word laid back, I think our industry is not really suitable for some people who just want to chill, having fun and lay back. Probably not really the best place to work with. I think there's a lot of people are very motivated, driven, and a bit like aggressive hustler, pretty hardcore type of people who wants to achieve stuff and kind of wants to do a lot of things. I'm not saying they want to change the word per se, but they kind of put the word shaper. So if I find kind of people who are like the shaper type of people who don't really satisfy on just normal mediocre lifestyle and some kind of just repeatable routine, that's really a big plus for me to really talk further with this kind of people, right? So if we look at the hard skill, there's certain hard skill I really want to look at. First is the analytical skill, or even more specifically like data skill, like talking about statistics. This do some data crunching, analytical stuff. Look at the chart or all the other ways, right, to make financial modeling and things. Those are things that are very needed, right? Um, I I I think in our industry things has to be very scientific because it's highly relevant about money. You cannot just say, oh, I like this. I kind of feel this is right, but you don't have the evidence or proof, or make some kind of flawed assumption. And you cannot really validate the assumption that kind of way. We have to be very specific, accurate, and how to say scientific, right? So you need to get data to support you, or some kind of reasoning support you. So critical thinking, data driven is very important as I would say as a hard skill, right? And then the second one as a hard skill is some basic understanding of blockchain or some kind of technology thing. So if that person who kind of feels scared just talking about tech in general, it's a red flag for me to even proceed with anything. Like, some people say, oh, don't talk about tech at all for me. Like some people like that. And I will feel like, okay, this might not be your territory, because you're gonna get entering this work as like something you are not comfortable every single day. Then probably not gonna be a good fit for you, right? Because we're gonna talk to a lot of tech entrepreneur. They're super techy in a way. They're super smart, but only focus on technology that they love, right? They have passion about. So if you don't even know how to talk to them, and you feel scared, and some people even feel quote unquote disgusted while hearing tech, when they talk about coding and stuff, they were like, okay, for me, it's a red flag, right? Because I respect a lot of technology people. Like my idol is Steve Wozniak, right, who built Apple 1 and 2, right? Like those kind of people who are engineers, right? So you need to respect those people. You cannot say, oh, don't talk to tech to me. For me, that's a red flag. So that's on a harder skill. Software skill, I think I mentioned about the passion, right? So the second factor is on the communication wise. There's a lot of kind of game theory type of multi-stakeholder type of thing you need to deal with every single day. You need to understand what's people's mindset, why they're arguing with you. You need to put your feet in their shoes, understand from their perspective. You need to have the empathy. That's kind of like the designer part of mindset as well. That's also makes things difficult because you need to understand tech. So you have the kind of engineer mindset, but also needs to have empathy. When people arguing with you in certain things, you kind of in the middle, have to mitigate the conflict between all the stakeholders. That is sometimes very important and also difficult to do that, right? And that for our kind of industry, especially from our company as a venture builder or incubator, you're going to have this kind of conflict with different parties altogether, right? Sometimes even just we enter as into the conflict. We need to negotiate with some terms with some companies and so on, right? See people have become in a kind of not reasonable and kind of become sometimes even ridiculous, right? You need to kind of how to say counter back and so on, right? So you need to have empathy. You need to know why they give you that kind of things, how to reply and so on. So those are very important skill sets, not necessarily sales per se, but more like communication skill and a negotiation skill. And those are very important in database communication.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you, Charlie. How about Ariana? What skills have you seen in your colleagues or from your
Uh,
interaction with HR? Yeah.
so I'm also like trying to help them out with recruitment process right now. So I can see a lot of we're hiring a lot of people right now. So I kind of skim through the CVs that come in at the beginning, etc. So right now, you do, as Charlie said, like everything that Charlie said really does stand for a career at Revolut as well, and I think in general in fintechs. So first of all, yes, you have to have the background. You can't, decide that one day you're gonna, I don't know, be a data analyst, but no coding experience, no data analytics experience. So um, I I really think that having some sort of data analytics experience is really important. It makes such a big difference. Even if it's small tasks, it makes a difference. Um, a lot of people have it, so you are competing against those people as well. The other thing is be very driven. You have to be very driven. You have to be determined. You have to make sure that you're up for it, because it is a very tough industry, and sometimes keeping up with the fast-paced environment is hard. You have to be able to be putting in the effort, putting in dedication. You have to be able to show them that you have a solid track record of accomplishments. And it's a tech company, so you have to appreciate the tech as well, the tech side of it. The one other thing that I do appreciate that Revolut and I think other companies would look into candidates having is making sure that candidates can think deeper, not skim through stuff. So you have to be able to find the logic behind the problem, dig into it, have the ability to innovate your ideas and express your ideas so that other people can grasp them. The one thing that it makes a difference is you have to be a team player. Anyone who isn't a team player might succeed at the beginning, but it won't take you far. So you might have an idea, but it will come a point where you won't be able to complete the idea by yourself. You will need to work with other people. You will need to manage other people. So the ability to have the interpersonal skills that you develop is, I think it's one of the most essential things for this type of companies. So yeah, be very data driven, be very focused, be very aggressive, but not aggressive as in, shout at people. You have to be aggressive in, I know what I want, I know what I'm doing, and I put a lot of work and effort into becoming a better version of myself every day to get towards my goal. So yeah, a lot of data driven and aggressive people in this industry. So
aggressive, so they work aggressively. So when they work on the computer, they're kind of like
no, well, that too, actually, you have to be very fast with everything, but yeah.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing, Ariana. We have a question from Monsieur, who says, what should I do now to enter a fintech company?
I would take this one maybe. What you should do? It's based on your backgrounds, right? So I think fintech companies normally looking for certain type of people. I think the first type of people are more like a critical thinking, analytical type of researcher, analysts, right? That that kind of people is like you have the role to dealing with numbers and dealing with and analyze and kind of market information, writing reports and so on, right? To make sure there's kind of interesting market insight you can get by doing the analysis, right? So analytical thinking is definitely needed. And so if you haven't get that kind of experience, I would suggest to you participate in some kind of business game competition. Yeah, like this kind of forms can vary a lot, right? There's a lot of kind of business plan competition or kind of online analytical competition or whatever you can find out to kind of practice that. And then maybe some kind of case studies, right? I think in a lot of bachelor or master degree education, you have this kind of Harvard business case study and so on, right? Those kind of things, basically by absorbing the information and actually and analyze the situation, what's going on with the problem and how to provide a solution. That kind of training can give you a pretty good skill set, right? To improve your problem solving skill. That's very important in the fintech world. If you want to be more like an engineer approach, if you have even engineer background, right? So I would highly recommend you to kind of keep up with all the technology trend. There's a lot of companies that choosing Rust, some other new programming language to build their system, which is more secure, more distributed network friendly and so on. So if you have those kind of basics, who can code even either front end back end on something, you can maybe become one of the R&D developer, right? On that. But that's very specific, right? So it depends on what kind of skill set you need. I think one of the most interesting to look at also on the design side as well. I mentioned the empathy and it was kind of